everyone. We're sitting here with a rockstar developer today, Mr. Igor, who's done Doodle Jump. Igor, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your company and the applications you've developed?
Hi, so I'm Igor Pušenjak. Together with my brother, we created Doodle Jump, one of the most successful iPhone apps, and now taking over the other devices and platforms as well. You've been very kind, calling me a rock star, and that's very flattering. Thank you.
So tell us about the company. When did you guys get started, and who came up with the idea, or how did it happen? What did you guys?
So we got started pretty much around the time when Apple announced that they were opening up the platform for the third-party developers, which was in 2008. My brother and I jumped on the opportunity because we saw a potential of doing something fun and getting some financial reward for it. Apple at the time had 10 million active devices, iPhones out there, and each one had a credit card on file by the people who owned them, and it was an easy one-click purchase, and we figured people would be willing to spend 99 cents on something simple that we can actually develop. We never really anticipated it becoming so huge, but it was more of a fun project that we figured we'll get a little extra money for movies, drinks, dinners, and also be present on the platform, because we've been sort of Apple fans from a very early on. So we got into it, and then once you get into it, you get into it deeper and deeper and deeper, and
you didn't think it would take over your lives, basically,
no,
when you got into it?
We didn't at the time, definitely not.
Okay, so am I correct in assuming that you do the drawing aspect and your brother does the development aspect?
So that's how initially we basically divided it up, by my brother doing all the engineering and programming, and I was doing the art and design part. We were both working on sort of the game concept and app concept ideas. As Doodle Jump exploded in its popularity, there became more of a need for marketing and for business development, and I've started taking some more roles in that as well.
Okay. Now you started off with the iOS platform, but you're present on other platforms as well. How do you guys decide, which platform to move on to next, or what is the procedure in doing that?
So we're actually very lucky to be working with a company called Gamehouse, or you may know them as Real Networks as well, and they are taking care of Doodle Jump on all the other platforms other than the iOS. And we're working closely with them about in identifying which platforms are sort of the ones that we should go and be present on next. I would really love for device manufacturers to kind of realize how important it is to minimize the segmentation, because it's much easier for app developers to actually be present on their platform if there's only one resolution and one device sort of type, not necessarily the same manufacturer, but sort of similar specs. And as we know, people are buying the devices because of the apps that are available, so make it easy for us to be on your platform.
So basically what you're saying is Apple's done a good job by limiting the number of devices and resolutions, or...
Apple has done an amazing job in sort of supporting its developer community. Even when the iPad came out, all the iPhone apps were immediately available on the iPad. It's all, it only really, well, it has 3-4 different resolutions right now, but they're all pretty much work in the seamless way. It's just doubling up. On the iPhone you had the original resolution, and now the Retina, same thing on the iPad, and it's just been very easy to create something that works on all the devices, and it's helping both Apple because the apps are available, and it's helping us, the developers, because it's easier to manage all that.
So, I mean, if you were to give an advice to someone who's new in development, I mean, what would be your advice? What would someone, who's watching this interview and wants to go out and develop an app, what are the things that you'd say to do basically to them?
Persistence is a key. You have to really be persistent and work hard, because I don't know a single app, maybe one, that was sort of the first app that was developed by a developer that was successful. We've had about 30 apps before Doodle Jump. And another thing is also really working on something that you love, the idea being this is something I would play, this is something that makes sense, rather than kind of coming up with a way to make money first and then fitting the game into it. So
You mentioned you had 30 apps before Doodle Jump. What platforms did you guys use to?
it was iOS.
Everything was on iOS?
Yeah, we started on iOS exclusively, and part of the reason why we had 30 apps is because we've seen the fact that, okay, this platform is fantastic. If we develop more apps, it will make us it will be easier for us to sort of make a living out of being on the platform, because the idea of actually creating a smash hit app was not something that we wanted to gamble on. It was the idea that, okay, if we have 10, 20, 30 apps that are all doing fine, we should be okay. And I think that's, that model has worked well for us up until we actually came up with Doodle Jump, which then exploded. So even before Doodle Jump, we were comfortably living out of the revenue that we were making on the App Store. We were just not rock stars. Now, when the Doodle Jump came, of course, that changed the equation dramatically.
How do you see gaming evolving over the years? I mean, with iOS or just mobile devices taking a huge chunk of gaming, or pretty much bringing new players into the gaming market now. Traditionally gaming's been associated with your PlayStations and your Xboxes and your Nintendos, but now, everyone's gaming on their iPhones, Android devices, BlackBerry devices. So it's pretty much changed the landscape of what you guys have done. How do you see it progressing? I mean, do you think consoles will continue to exist, or will they sort of become the niche gaming moving forward, and mobile gaming will become the mainstream gaming moving forward? How do you see that?
Well, consoles have always been a niche, except there was nothing else really out there except for sort of casual PC gaming. With the mobile gaming, with the mobile device gaming, like you've said, it opened up a whole new market of gamers that have not necessarily been gamers, that are not considering themselves as gamers, but they have this device that can run games on them, and if it's something simple and easy to use and play, people will play it, as we've seen. And it's a very interesting question that you bring up, because it's something that very early on in the Apple app world and the gaming sort of world was very contested, because you had a lot of developers who come from traditional gaming that have been used to charge $10, $20, $30 for a game, and wanting to do the same model on the iPhone platform, whereas we were coming in with a 99-cent model saying, you know what, you're opening up this platform to a much wider audience. You're not selling only to gamers, you're selling to everyone. So what you lose in per unit price, you make up in the volume. And that's something a lot of kind of traditional game developers had trouble accepting initially, because they thought, oh wow, we have this whole new gaming market. Yes and no. These people are not really gamers. They're kind of casual players, and they're willing to spend different sort of sums on their gaming. But you can lower that price and make up in the money involved.
So, final question, what's next for Doodle Jump? Hollywood, franchises, what are we going to see next?
So we're actively working right now on creating merchandising, a lot of sort of toys and games and fun things to expand the brand. We're also at the same time working on more and more of the game itself. We've almost completed an Xbox Kinect version of the game. We have more plans for the iOS and for the Android. Would love for Nokia and Windows to be successful and attack that platform as well. And a lot of fun things. One of the advantages or fun things about being a very small team, we don't plan very far in advance. So we'll basically chat one day and decide, hey, we want to do a ninja theme, and 3 weeks later it will be out. But a month ago, if you asked me what's your next theme, we wouldn't be able to answer that. So that's the part of the fun of it.
Great. Well, thank you very much for your time, Igor. Really appreciate it, and good luck.
Thank you for talking to me. Thanks.